Well, ciao travelers. Welcome back to Laura's Travel Talk. And if you're new to the channel, we like to post videos and talk about destinations and bucket list places and gorgeous places to go and visit and weird things and all that is. And in addition to that, weekly we post a different state in our 50 US states, one state a week, and hopefully your favorite state will be coming up soon. So I'm glad you've joined us. Today, we're going to Tuscany, Italy. Oh yeah. Tuscany, Italy is the best road trip I ever took. You know, you go through there and the landscaping is, perfect and beautiful, and medieval buildings and old little villages and romantic places and historic cities. And where do I start with the food and wine? Delicious. So I'm going to walk you through the trip that my husband and I took, and then you can alter it or make it your own. And I hope you're able to get out there because this place is not to be missed. Well, we started in Rome and rented a convertible to start our adventure up to Tuscany. They gave us a convertible Peugeot, so it was very roomy and it was a nice car. We had enjoyed our week in Rome, but we wanted to experience Tuscany. Florence, Siena, Pisa, Lucca. So we made an adventure of it. I booked a B&B that I had researched online and had communicated with the owner a few times, and I was sure we would love it. It was going to be our home base, and then we would do day trips all around Tuscany. I'll be showing you pictures of that in a minute. So the first city that you'll hit along the way is Montepulciano. Yeah, I'm Italian now. This town dates back to the 8th century. It's a hilltop town, and they're all about their wine. If you love wine tasting and scenic views, this is the place for you. But what's nice is it's along the trip from Rome, you can stop in this town, and then you can end up at the B&B, which I'll show you soon. But you can stop at the Piazza Grande. You'll find all these palaces, Renaissance palaces, local wine cellars for a tasting of their famous wine, and all the casks that are down in those wine cellars. It's fabulous. And then you need to try their pecorino cheese. That's what they're famous for. And you can sit down and have lunch at any of those cafes out in the piazza, and you can order pappardelle, cacio e pepe, my favorite. If you take off from Rome, as we did, and go to Montepulciano, it's a 2-hour drive, so you can explore and then have some lunch and then get back in the car and head to Borgo Arginina, which is an hour further. That is the B&B that we stayed at. And I don't always list places to stay because everyone has their own opinion and taste, which is fine, but we cannot recommend a better place to stay. It's a good location for a base, and then you can take day trips from there. You're not in a village. I mean, you're out in the gorgeous vineyards like you can see, so you'll need to take some snacks and drinks for the off hours. Elena is the hostess, and she is the most charming and will help you with any ideas or directions of where you want to go for everything. When we got there, we were walking out on that back deck, and her adult daughter was out there and greeted us with some cold, fresh, homemade lemonade. And then we told Elena that we were starving because we had not eaten all day. So she called up a local cafe in a very, very small village nearby and sent us over there. And when we arrived, they had just made up some fresh pasta with marinara sauce and some bread. Okay, thank you. Crazy good. So every day you come down for breakfast and you're out on that veranda with other people that are staying there with you. And her dog Bianca would lay on that little stone wall every single day in the sunshine and greet everybody. It is just breathtaking. And then every day after everyone's done with their day trips, everyone comes back, has a bottle of wine, and talks about where they went. So you can help everybody else decide where they're going to go the next day. It's wonderful. So now we can head out on the next day and head over to Siena, which you can see on the map is just a little west. It's like 20 minutes. It's close. And they're famous for being the walled city, and they have all the historic architecture, and it is really kind of a cool place to be. And you go in, and there's the Piazza del Campo, which is really the heart of the city, which most of these Italian cities, they have a piazza that is where all the streets meet, and that's where everybody would hang out. And you can just get something and sit down and eat and enjoy the sunshine. But you got to go over to the Siena Cathedral, which has unbelievable mosaics. I mean, look at these pictures. Are you kidding me? Stunning. And then these mosaic floors, the 14th century floors, they only uncover them a couple times a year, I'm told, because they cannot risk people walking in and walking on them. So it's usually roped off and covered. If you go in, you can see all the walls and everything, but the floors are covered. So check the calendar for that one. And then there's the baptistry that is right next to it. And then if you want to stop and grab something to eat, run into one of these little shops, cheese and meat shops, and they'll slice off some bread and a little cheese and a tomato and maybe some meat and make a sandwich for you to go. Wrap it up. You can go sit out there in the piazza with everybody else. It's wonderful. So on your next day, you can head over to the San Gimignano little small village, and it's about 45 minutes north of where you're staying. And it has the medieval towers, and it's an UNESCO World Heritage Site, so it also has some of the most picturesque views in Tuscany. Cobblestone streets, towns, little towers, and narrow walkways like you can see in the picture there. And you can go down to the piazza and get something to eat. There's also the Collegiata de San Gimignano. It's a beautiful church with frescoes that date back to the 14th century also. And they have a crisp white wine that they're known for, which is the Vernaccia de San Gimignano. And you can pair that up with a charcuterie board and enjoy your lunch. So on your next day, you should head on up to Florence. Florence is about 45 minutes north, as you can see on the map there, from where you're staying. Or at this point, you may want to relocate to Florence if you're going to fly out of there. Up to you. But Florence is a absolute must-see. We'll start off with the Cathedral of Santa Maria del Fiore, which is the Holy Mary of the Flowers. It was started in 1296 and then completed in 1436. They utilized multiple colors of marble for the effect. It's so hard to capture these in pictures, but I'm going to do my best because this is the most striking building I have seen in Italy. And the green and the white marble is stunning. It's hard to get your mind around, but it is absolutely wonderful. And then after you do that, you can stroll on across the Ponte Vecchio bridge. Ponte Vecchio is Old Bridge. And you can find a lot of vendors out there. This is where all the gold is sold. All the vendors that have jewelry. And if you want some gold jewelry, this is the place to go because they're all along the bridge. And then there's also other bridges. There's one behind it that has houses on it. Little tiny, probably apartments. And people live there. So that's different. And then finally, you have got to stop by the Uffizi Gallery. That is a must-see. You'll see the statue of David. You know, this guy's hanging out. I put a little fig leaf on there so everyone wasn't stunned. And masterpieces from Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci, Botticelli. It's just corridors of artwork. And it is a lot to see, but it is so worth it. And then you can go out into the piazza. Again, lots of food choices, lots of street vendors, and of course everything's freshly made. So you can't go wrong in Florence. And now you can head on over to Pisa. Well, you know, no trip through Tuscany is complete without going to the Leaning Tower of Pisa. You can't miss that. Although I feel like there wasn't quite as much stuff to do in Pisa, but some interesting things were that baptistry is right there at the Leaning Tower of Pisa and the cathedral. They're all right there in that little area. And you can then stroll down the River Arno, and you can see that tiny little Gothic church there, known as the Santa Maria della Spina, which is the Holy Mary of the Thorn, and take a stroll along there because there's beautiful city views. And then for the food options, same. You go out into the piazza area and there's street vendors and there's little cafes where you can sit outside and eat. And then if you want to, you can head up a little further north to Lucca. And a lot of people pass up Lucca. It's only about 30 minutes. But I read a lot of things that said it's really the best of Italy without the crowds, because it still has all the back streets and the alleyways and the Gothic architecture and all the cool buildings. But you don't have as many crowds there. So just a thought. So Tuscany is really the perfect region for a road trip. I'm telling you, you can't see anything more beautiful. So grab a car, hit the winding roads, and immerse yourself into Tuscany, because it is stunning. And you can never go wrong with the buildings, the architecture, the food, the people, the landscape. It's fabulous. So I hope you're able to get over there. And drop me some comments and let me know how your experience was. I love to hear that kind of stuff. And let me know if you have some more adventures that you'd like me to review. And I thank you for coming. I thank you for subscribing. And there's a slide at the end. You know what to do. And in the meantime, arrivederci, Tuscany.